Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know I said I'm going to do these TIFF reviews, and this is the second film review in a row that isn't from 2025. I mean, I just got done with my review for Toy Story for the 30th anniversary of that. But I had to get on here and I had to talk about a movie that hit 60 this year, which is one of my all-time favorites, and that, of course, is The Sound of Music, directed by Robert Wise, starring Julie Andrews, Christopher Plummer, Richard Hayden, Peggy Wood, Charmian Carr, and Eleanor Parker. And this, of course, is the 1965 Best Picture winning film. You all know it, and I assume most of you love it. And yet again, this is a very, very special experience with me. So, like I did with Toy Story, I kind of run down my history with this film and the show, of course, which I saw a high school production of back when I was a bit younger, I think like in middle school. I don't know if I had seen the full movie. I think I'd seen bits and pieces of it, but it wasn't really until high school that I started to watch this movie, and I really enjoyed it the first time I saw it. But when I got back into movies and I watched it again, I was absolutely entranced by the filmmaking, the performances, the musical numbers, the script. Everything about this movie is the definition of iconic and the definition of perfect. So you probably know what my score is already right up front. But it's hard not to love this movie. I mean, even the most cynical moviegoer, it's kind of hard to resist this movie's charm, as corny as it is at times. I just think the emotionality of this story and what Robert Wise pulls out from his direction out of all the moments in Ernest Lehman's screenplay, which is just so great. I kind of get why he wasn't nominated for it, but still, I mean, what a writer. And I think the script just nails what makes the story great, what really you're supposed to take away from this adaptation of Maria von Trapp's story from nunhood all the way to, well, I guess this is a spoiler, but all the way to being the matriarch of the Von Trapp family. And of course I'm going to talk about spoilers. It's The Sound of Music. It's been out for 60 years, so you can fend for yourself. But this was really special. Getting to see this in theaters for the very first time, because this is one of those movies when you think to yourself, this is cinema, this needs to be seen on the largest screen possible, and seeing those vistas of Austria just blown up in beautiful Technicolor, it's just absolutely mind-blowing seeing that opening number where they move in on Julie Andrews just singing, "The hills are alive with the sound of music." I mean, come on. It's one of the greatest, most iconic openings to any movie ever. And of course, the lovely, the radiant Julie Andrews in what I think is an all-time great film performance as Maria here. I mean, I know she won the Oscar for Mary Poppins a year prior, which, talk about one of the craziest back-to-back years for any actor. But I think that this is her finest performance on film. Not only is her sense of playfulness and humor just so apparent in her comedic timing with this character, but the sincerity of Maria herself as a character, the subtlety of the emotions that Julie Andrews brings out from just her face. I mean, it is such a beautiful performance. It's not one that is very showy, but it is so powerful. And just Maria herself is just one of the all-time great film characters. I think it's so easy to latch yourself onto her as a character because she endears the audience to her almost immediately, especially being out of place with the more orderly nuns who are running this abbey. And I just think that Julie Andrews in this, I mean, yet again, how can you not love this performance? She's absolutely terrific in this, and I think most people would say that this is her finest role, which is really saying a lot because Mary Poppins is one of the most iconic characters on film as well. So, yet again, what an incredible 2 years Julie Andrews had. But this movie yet again, one of the most beautiful movies ever made. I mean, Ted McCord's cinematography, it blows my mind that he did not win for this, because that was the year Dr. Zhivago also came out. I believe Freddie Young won the Oscar for that. But I think to myself, I'm like, yeah, it looks great. We've seen Lawrence of Arabia, all right? Like, give him the Oscar. This really is one of the most picturesque films ever composed, just from, you know, the vistas of Salzburg and everything else in between, the way that these scenes are blocked and framed, and just some of the lighting. Oh my goodness! You know, I can think of so many moments in this movie where the imagery was just so overwhelmingly powerful and gorgeous that it brought me to tears. And I think that also is in conjunction with the script and the story itself of this woman's self-discovery, as to where, you know, where her place is in the world, where she fits in with her journey with God. You know, yet again, it's such an interesting transformation to see her at the beginning of the story really not have a footing of where she should be among these other nuns, to see her fully form into basically the mother for these children, and such a great figure of, I guess, authority, you could say, to look up to. I mean, it is just such a beautiful, beautiful story, a beautiful love story, a beautiful story about these kids, of course, learning who they are and what they're capable of with the whole music angle. And then, of course, I have to talk about Christopher Plummer as Captain Von Trapp, who famously really detested this movie and the popularity that it brought him, because I don't think this is one of his favorite roles necessarily. Of course, an Academy Award-winning actor. This is not the movie that I think is his finest performance, but even with that being said, I think he came around on this movie by the end of his life, but this is really one of his most iconic roles, and I think even if he wasn't happy with the film itself, he brought his absolute A-game to it. And I just think throughout the whole story, I mean, especially the chemistry between him and Julie Andrews is unparalleled. Like, one of my favorite scenes in this film is when they're having the party at the Von Trapp residence and they're doing the waltz. He comes on in and basically just sweeps her off her feet. And just that moment where you see them turning and they pause and you see Julie Andrews' face, and you can tell that in this moment she is falling in love with him. It's just some of the best direction I've ever seen. It's some of the best acting I've ever seen. It's some of the best utilization of music I've ever seen. It is just, everything about that scene is a perfect storm. And I think there's so many moments like that in this film. My goodness, the scene when they finally confess their love to each other in the gazebo. Oh my goodness, that might be my favorite scene in the entire film. I mean, I was just watching it, I was overwhelmed with emotion, like there were just tears in my eyes. Just the build up to that moment too, like everything feels so earned from this narrative, even though you have like some really cheesy moments that really, I think the tone is very self-aware, and I think it kind of revels in the fact that it is just so gleeful for a good majority of the film, not the whole film. But it rides that tonal line so well between, you know, camp and just absolute despair, and you know, that dark underpinning of the impending doom of the Nazi regime, as we know eventually moved in to Austria. And I just think there aren't many movies that I think can pull off that level of delicacy when it comes to balancing tones, and the way that the movie seamlessly shifts into the more darker second half. It really doesn't miss a beat, and I just absolutely love so much about it. And of course, how can we forget about the musical numbers? I mean, these are some of the most iconic musical numbers, not just in film, but like in musical theater. I mean, from Do Re Mi to The Lonely Goat Herd to Edelweiss to my goodness, the list goes on and on. I can't even think of them. I Have Confidence and Something Good, which were both, you know, for the first time featured in this film. They weren't in the original stage production. Of course, the title track. You could go on and on about how many great songs there are, how many great musical numbers, and they're just shot to perfection. They're edited to perfection. I think William Reynolds' editing, Oscar-winning editing, in fact, is so crisp and really keeps this movie that's almost 3 hours long moving at such a seamless and perfect pace, because it isn't like the fastest movie you're ever going to watch. It's long, but really every single moment is so engrossing. Even though, like, you know, my body is still, well, at least it was really screwed up from TIFF still, and I was kind of adjusting when I was seeing the screen. So I was kind of like, my eyes were kind of closing on me, but besides the point, I was still locked in all the way. And yet again, it's just one of those things where it's like, it might have not been the most ideal experience for me, but even then, I was so appreciative of the fact that I got to see this in a theater. I mean, it is just absolutely mind-blowing. You know, imagining how this was when it came out, seeing it as it was intended. And I'm assuming it's a 4K restoration. It looks absolutely perfect. Even down to the textures on the clothing, it looks like this could have been shot yesterday. It holds up so incredibly well. And it was just really special getting to see this with my mother, who actually, not to date her too much, but actually saw this movie in its original theatrical run when she was a little girl. And I knew I had to go see this with my mom because she was the one who introduced me to this film. I mean, ever since she saw it when she was a kid, she knows the lyrics word for word, and probably was fighting the the urge to sing during the movie. I heard some other people, you know, singing "How do you solve a problem like Mary?" like under their breath. And so, I get it. These songs are so irresistible, but yet again, it's really the story and the fact that the movie knows when to pull back and really let you sit with every single moment of transformation, every single pinpoint that shifts this narrative to really stunning emotional heights. Yet again, there's not many movies like this. I don't think that there's many movies that are made with the level of craft and to the level of scope of filmmaking that The Sound of Music is. And of course, I mean, I gotta talk about the last half of this movie, especially in the sequence when they're trying to escape Austria. It really is just edge of your seat like suspense. It is really scary, quite honestly, for a movie that's so lighthearted and joyous for a good majority of its runtime. They really go to those dark places and they don't hold back at all. And I absolutely love that Robert Wise and Ernest Lehman, they didn't shy away from what this story was and what this family had to go through in real life. It really does just lead to such a powerful resolve in the final shot where the Von Trapp family is like climbing through the mountains. You hear this choral version of Climb Every Mountain, and then you get the pan up to the mountains. It is just so mind-blowingly beautiful, tear-inducing, what have you. Everything about this movie is great. And of course, the rest of the cast, the kids are great. Eleanor Parker, I know Peggy Wood was nominated for playing the Mother Abbess, but I really think that Eleanor Parker as the Baroness, I think, delivered even more Oscar-worthy work. Even just the small scene that she has before she exits the movie. I really just think Eleanor Parker is so great in this. Richard Hayden is Uncle Max. I mean, he's absolutely hysterical whenever he's on screen. And yeah, there's so many things to say about The Sound of Music. I know I've talked about this movie before on the channel. It also made the Nathaniel Ahart and Company's Top 100 Films of All Time series. But any chance I can get to come on here and talk about The Sound of Music 60 years after its release, it still holds up as one of the absolute most sublime, most tender, most moving, and just absolutely timeless films ever made. It's just one of those movies that never fails to bring a smile to my face. I've said it before, it's serotonin the movie, essentially, because it's just so hard to resist its charm. And yeah, you get swept up in the filmmaking, you get swept up in the story. Everything about this film is absolutely perfect to me. And of course, The Sound of Music gets a 10 out of 10. You know, it wasn't my top 10. I probably knocked it down a couple of spots, but still, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I really don't have much more to say about it. I feel like I've probably been a little bit redundant in my points, but yet again, I just have to express how much I love this film and emphasize just how this stunning vision from Robert Wise still resonates to this day. One of my favorite directors, one of the most versatile directors in Hollywood. And funnily enough, his two best movies are not only the movies that won him Best Director, but also Best Picture winning films, and two of my favorite movies of all time. But this man really could do anything under the sun. I mean, he edited Citizen Kane, for crying out loud. So obviously he was very talented, but I think that this ranks up there. The fact that this isn't even my favorite Robert Wise movie should tell you everything you need to know about this man. But my goodness, if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Why are you watching this review? Go out in theaters and see it. It should be playing one more time today, so definitely be on the lookout for that and make sure that you don't miss this in theaters, because yet again, when are you going to get the opportunity to see this again to such stunning quality? I think this really is maybe not the most ideal theater experience for me, like I said, but definitely one of the ones that I'm most grateful for. And please smash the like button if you liked this video and this review. Of course, there will be more classic reviews at some point, but right now the focus is Toronto 2025, and the next review up on the docket should be Sentimental Value from Joaquin Trier. So please look forward to that and so many more coming down the pipeline very soon. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. And until then, so long, farewell, Avita saying goodbye.